Hello, my name is Hakon and welcome back to my channel and something slightly different today, a little impromptu vlog perhaps, where I talk about things that I don't normally talk about. I did promise I would make more videos about books and literature and reading and poetry. I am spending more time reading lately, and in fact I'm reading so much lately that I realized I should be wearing reading glasses. I've got to that kind of age. In fact, I'm actually past the age by quite a bit where normally you have to start wearing reading glasses. And I've got a little smudge on these now. I need to clean those afterwards. So these are just some cheap ones I got from Boots. I'm going to get some proper ones eventually. I just needed to get some cheap ones first, try it out and see if it made a big difference. And it does actually. I can still read the smallest print you can imagine without glasses, but it is a little bit fuzzier than it needs to be. And of course, if I'm reading a lot, then my eyes will get a lot less tired if I'm wearing reading glasses. Now, and of course, that leads me into something else because I was in town on Friday in order to get my long distance glasses, which I also don't technically need, but which will allow me to see the world in high definition as opposed to in HD ready, which is what I've been doing the last several years. And I've particularly noticed when I'm tired or hungry or cold that my long distance vision is a little bit on the fuzzy side. I can still read the license plates of a car at 30 or 40 meters away on most days, but sometimes I'm struggling to see the road signs as early as I'd want to see them when I'm driving, particularly. And so I thought it was about time, and it is about time to get glasses. I thought I'd make it all the way to 50 without glasses. No such luck, but it's not a contest, is it? So I'm still way behind the curve. I've got really good vision for my age, and I've never had to wear glasses in my life before now. So, and I still don't have to, technically. I just want to. Now, the thing is, something that people don't realize is that if you are not wearing glasses and you should be wearing glasses, you are actually making your eyesight worse by straining your eye muscles all the time. So some people think that once they start wearing glasses, then they will get dependent on them and they won't be able to not wear them, and because their eyes will get too adjusted to seeing things with glasses and they will be less exercised. But the thing is that the straining you do with your eyes isn't just exercise, it's actually straining. So your vision might actually get worse faster if you don't have the right prescription glasses. That's what I think anyway, and I think I'm right in saying that. If you disagree with me, please leave a comment. Anyway, so I went to town to get my long distance glasses for driving, particularly, and while I was in town, obviously, I stopped by one of the charity shops. I haven't been there for years now, or at least for a year, I think, because of this nonsense that's been going on. I haven't gone to town as much as I used to. So I found some nice books in the charity shop. I go to the Oxfam on Church Street in Inverness. That's the one that I like going to the most. Has the biggest selection of books. There's another one, of course, at the end of Church Street, which is called Leakey's, but they're not a charity shop, and the books are quite expensive, but they have an absolutely amazing selection. But nice just to go in, by the way. Anyway, I'm digressing. So I went into Oxfam, and I always look at the books in case there's something I like. And I do like reading, as you know, I read a lot all the time. And I thought I'd see if I found something new for my collection. So I found some nice books. I found this Milton volume in the Every Man's Pocket Library edition, which is a very nice series of books, actually. And of course, quite small writing, but of course that's no problem for me with reading glasses. Actually, I can read it fine without reading glasses, but this is one of those sizes that will be easier with reading glasses, definitely. I haven't read much Milton before. I obviously I have some in anthologies, like Norton's Anthology of Poetry, but it's nice to have a pocket volume because I like reading poetry when I'm sitting in bed just before going to sleep, and something nice and small to keep in your pocket is easier, and also I can bring it to a cafe or on the bus or train or whatever, wherever I'm going. And also, usually when I really like a poet, I buy collected poems of that poet. But I don't know about Milton yet, whether that is something I want to do. I want to read a little bit of Milton first and then find out if it's something for me. Then I found this book, which looks a bit like a children's book, actually, to me, for some reason. So Walter Scott, The Lady of the Lake, which, according to the blurb, is the world's first international blockbusting bestseller. Really? I didn't know that, and I'm not so sure that is true, but it depends how you define it, I guess. But in any case, this is The Lady of the Lake by Sir Walter Scott, which in a nice, very nice version, very nice edition, I should say. Got a nice, even two-color prints with the red and the black as well, and some notes. And yeah, it's the 200th anniversary edition, actually, of this was published in 1810, and this is the one from 2010. Very nice. I'm wondering if there should have been a dust cover on this one. It doesn't look like there would have been, actually. But yeah, very nice book. I haven't read anything by Sir Walter Scott yet, but he is, of course, one of the great poets of the English language, and, of course, one of the great Scottish national poets as well. Then I found this one, The Faber Book of 20th Century Verse. And when I saw the title, I thought, okay, so maybe it's got most of the 20th century covered. But then I thought, oh, it looks a bit old, doesn't it? Is it old made to look a bit old? And then I saw it had a bit of yellowing here. And then I realized this book is actually, even though it looks quite fresh, is from the 50s. It is actually 70 years old, this book. It just didn't look it because it's good quality paper and printing. So this is the Faber book of the first half of the 20th century verse, actually. So it's up until 1950. Now, the reason I bought this, I mean, I do have other anthologies of poetry and, of course, covered up to the first half of the 20th century as well, but this one had several poets in it I've never heard of before, and so I thought it might be a nice way to get exposed to some new poems, new poets that I haven't heard of, and some of them might even appeal to me. Who knows? So yeah, nice, very nice volume of poetry. And then I found completely unread with dust cover the new book by David Attenborough, A Life on Our Planet, which is one where he is not quite it's not an autobiography, but of course it has a sort of autobiographical element in how he's relating his own life and his own experiences to how the world has changed in terms of global warming, in terms of species extinction, in terms of habitat destruction, in terms of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, etc., etc. All those things that are changing and how the world population has been growing, etc., in his lifetime, because there's been some really radical changes in his lifetime, both what has happened to the world and where it's headed, and also changes in how we actually view these things as well. So not a sort of a happy read David Attenborough book like I'm used to reading. I do like reading David Attenborough, and I do buy the books of his that I find. But it's an important book, I guess, and I didn't. I thought I might as well buy it. So I bought all those 4 books. That's my catch from this week's charity shopping. About £10, I think, altogether, which is all right. So yeah, that's my little vlog, I guess. Now, and just to, since I'm doing this as it's almost like a vlog, I suppose I should also say that I just this week I also just finished reading this book. So that's quite a thick one, but that's one I did in the last. When did I start reading this? 5 days ago, I guess, something like that. 6 days, less than a week anyway, and it's quite a page turner. So this is a book in Norwegian. It will maybe be translated at some point into English. I don't know, but it is a little bit Norwegian centric as well because it is a book series of. Let's see if I. That's the wrong way. I'm moving the wrong way. So it's a series of 6 books. So this is book number 5, and it's his last series of books because he actually died before the last one was completely finished. It was finished in writing, but it hadn't finished editing and publishing by the time he died after a long-term illness, as they say. And it is a book that tells the story of what happened with merchant shipping during the war. When I say the war, I mean the Second World War, and of course particular emphasis on what happened to Norwegian merchant shipping during the war, as we follow a character who is someone who is in the merchant navy during the whole of the war, and the kind of stuff that someone in the merchant navy might have been experiencing is something that he experiences. So it's to do with a lot of the stuff, the stories from the Second World War that we never told, because it's usually told from the angle of, well, first of all, it's the angle of the victors that we get to hear about the most. And secondly, it's from the angle of the military operations and their strategic purpose. And that leaves a lot of stories untold when it comes to how merchant shipping was involved in the war effort and how sailors were treated, how they were, the kind of stuff they could get exposed to, the kind of battles they actually got involved in, where they really just were there just peripherally, and of course the landing in Normandy as well, which is how this book starts. Lots of merchant vessels had been drafted in as part of the landing forces as well. So all these, and all, of course, all the convoys across the Atlantic during the earlier days of the war, when you had the wolf packs, the U-boats from Germany attacking them. It was quite a harsh life and quite a dangerous life to be in the merchant navy during the Second World War, and it is to a large extent stories that haven't been told. So one thing that's his starting point of Jon Michelet as he wrote this book, was to talk about life in the merchant navy in the Second World War. That was the starting point. But while he was writing it, he's also discovered a lot of other stories to do with what happened during specific events in the Second World War that isn't really so much part of the record as it should be as well, and is trying to bring some of these to the forefront as important events. And this book ends in the Pacific, near the Philippines, where you have one of, I'm not sure about the actual numbers of ships involved, but what he considers, and many consider, if you know about it, to be the biggest naval battle of all time. So, which is not the Battle of Jutland, as many people think, but it's the Battle of Leyte in the Philippines. And the merchant ship that is our protagonist is on is not part of the battle, but they are near the battle when it happens. So they get to see part of it. So that's what I've been reading this week. I'm not sure what to read for the weekend, but I have started some other books. Yesterday I started reading a short stories by Murakami, The Elephant Vanishes, and also I read one of the short stories by Lovecraft from The Call of Cthulhu and Other Weird Stories. Very short one in the beginning. What was it called again? Hang on. Let's see. Yeah, oh, of course, I should have remembered. The first story was called Dagon, so that's it. And of course, you don't get to know much about Dagon in the first story, but I'm sure that Dagon will show up again. So, and Murakami, of course, very nice. Very nice style, a little bit sort of Kafkaesque sometimes. You're never sure exactly what's going on and what the significance of things are, and which is quite nice. And it's one thing I like about Murakami is that everything he writes, every sentence, every little piece of information you're given is in some way important. You feel that there's no superfluous words in it, which I quite like actually. Which is also something I like about people like Roald Dahl and Agatha Christie as well. Is a writer who doesn't use any unnecessary words. If she writes it, it's because that's how it is meant to be, and it is important. So, just to go off on an aside, actually, some modern interpretations and reinterpretations of Agatha Christie actually try to change some of the fundamental parts of the story, and I think that doesn't really work. I'm talking about BBC adaptations primarily now. That doesn't really work with Agatha Christie because there's a reason why things are the way they are in an Agatha Christie story. It is because that is, of all the possibilities, the one that made the most sense. And so when you change it, you're actually diminishing it in many ways. That's what I think. Anyway, that's just a little kind of vlog today about what I've been reading and what I've been buying when it comes to books, and also some thoughts on Agatha Christie adaptations there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, next video with, well, something else entirely, possibly. Goodbye for now. Bye-bye. Ooh, and thank you for watching. Did I say that already? I'm not sure I did. Well, thank you again if I already said.